All right, I have not fully thought about the dream I just talked about before. So I got an idea to start from that dream and work backwards from the dreams that I had and see if anything would match up. So this dream is from August 30th. It says, I was in a room and my mother comes in, and I got nervous because I felt like she was going to do something bad. So I spoke up and I told her that I knew about the things that she did with this white guy. I said his name in the dream, but I forgot when I woke up. Then the dream shifted to outside, and it felt like I was in the 70s and 80s. Back in the day again, shaggy rugs, and I was wearing this full-length leather coat. And that old, what's the name of that car? Like a Gran Torino? I think that was the name of it. I remember my stepdad had one. It was like that kind of thing. Still had bell bottoms. Yeah. Anyway. So then the dream shifted to outside. It felt like I was in the 70s or 80s, 60s, 70s, or 80s because of the clothing. I had on a full length leather coat. I came across this white guy. We started talking, and then I started to remember that he was a bad man. And it seemed like he could tell that I was remembering something about him because he started getting angry. But someone came up to him. They whispered something in his ear. And then he got into this machine. So, like the Bobcat machines that do that kind of work. It was a machine like that. It was for one person, but it was really tall and very, very thin. I mean, just barely could fit a small person in there. And that machine, it was like this building, and the building had split down the middle. And not only did it split, some of the part of the crack, chunks of the brick was gone. So the man, this white guy, got into that machine, and the wheels turned so he can get right into that crack. And he went far in there, and he was examining something. I don't know what he was examining. It was just interesting. So he had gotten out of the machine, and he was like he was talking to his boss or something, because he was telling the person what was going on inside of the crack. Then he was coming towards me, but there was another guy that came up to him, whispered in his ear, and we both looked down the street, and we saw someone coming from another street, and it was a group of people, and like 4 people had this big something wrapped up. And in my head, I was like, oh my God, that's a dead body. And I can hear the people the crowd that was coming was like, telling the guy that was talking to me something about blood, like a lot of blood, or something to the effect of the blood, something they were saying about that. So as he was going towards them, I was still like in this parking lot area looking where the crack was. He kind of did his hand. So this group of people that came from out of nowhere came up towards me and was like they was angry at me. It was like they was angry at me And I was like, okay, what are y'all doing? Because they was plain face, no smiles, nothing. They didn't speak. It was like they was just on a mission to attack me. And I was trying to talk to them. I was like, you know, I don't have nothing to do with that. Because I was thinking that's what they were coming to be for, because I saw that. And they just started coming towards me, and I remember just screaming, and it was like nobody else was around. And you know how usually when you have a scary dream that you be scared and you run? I didn't run, and I wasn't afraid. It was just like I wanted somebody to help me. Um, but didn't seem like anybody was coming, so I woke up. Um, that was that. August 29th. I was in like this museum setting. I was around a group of people, and one of the people in the group, it was a female. She got lost, or she walked away. I don't know which one it was. So we all had to stop the tour and call somebody so that they can come and help look for her. And then there was this group that walked up. Again, a group that wanted to fight. And one of them says to me that the choice that Hayden made will never win. Now, Hayden is my granddaughter. She's what, 14 years old? Maybe I was just using her as an example, she was just in my dream, but I don't know why she would be there. But it says the choice that Hayden made will never win. So I remember that the group moved in a certain way. They did something collectively. They were like a swarm of bees or something, because they all moved alike. And it was something that they did that I had remembered. And what I did was I used that against them and tricked them, which made them have to go away. And then that gave me the space for me and Hayden to be able to get away. That was the end of the thread. It's a lot of groups coming after me. What is going on with that? There's so many noises around here. So many noises. And it's not like I've always heard noises or whatever. They're not scary. It's just like something is trying to say, okay, I'm here. Whatever. I noticed them. Yeah. August 28th. I saw a building that had some students walking out from the side door. And as I was going to the side door, I heard an argument. And I saw my cousin Lisa's daughter, Sydney. And she said, I have nothing to say. And then her grandfather, my cousin Lisa's dad, said, I don't know what you said, bitch. And Sydney was like, wait, hold on. I'm a lady here. And then there was a whole bunch of students like standing in the doorway listening to the argument. And me and somebody else was like, okay, y'all move away. Let them finish doing what they got to do. And that was that. Again, I don't talk to these people. And these are family members. Why am I dreaming about them? Especially, I think I may have seen Sydney once in person. I'll notice her if I see her because I see her on Facebook and, whatever, but I don't be around her like that. And Uncle Billy, to be honest with you, I thought he was gone. But like I said, I don't be around him, so I don't know. August 27th. It says, I can't remember everything in this dream, but the feeling I got was like showing me how to not judge a book by its cover. The man I saw that everybody was looking at, he seemed like he was a boss. He dressed well. He carried himself. When he sat down, he took up a lot of space, with his legs open wide and, sat back like that. And he just carried himself like he was running shit. And I said, that was not the big man in charge. He just looked like that. And I was like, he's really a loser. I was saying that to myself. And he walked away. So apparently, this one is kind of easy. Because if I felt like it had something to do with somebody not being who they appear to be, and if I'm thinking he's the head man in charge, it's got to do with some of the job, right? So maybe my next job, I'm going to be around somebody who is acting like they the head honcho, but they're really not. Because in the other dream, the person who was really the head honcho, he was wearing just like a t-shirt and jeans and some Timberlands or something. I don't know if they were Timberlands, but they were like boot kind of stuff. But the other guy who thought he was the shit was wearing this suit. Okay. This is August 26th. I was working at this small factory that processed specimen vials. And I mean, they were like little vials like this. This was a new job. And I had to process these bags. So these big plastic bags. I think I had like 4 bags that I had to process. Now, what exactly processing meant, I don't know. Because they were already packaged inside of a bag and the bag was sealed. So I don't know what I was supposed to do. But there was this coworker. And he was a tall guy. He was thick. Very thick guy. You didn't really see his face. I didn't see his face in the dream that much. All I can remember is his build. And he kept his head down. He didn't talk. He didn't say anything. But he took one of my bags. He put it in his backpack. And he walked away. And I remember like, what are you doing? So I stopped what I was doing and I followed him. He was at a little distance from me. I can see him. But I still followed him. And at first I was getting upset. Like, why would he do that? Blah, 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 blah. And then I saw him like go across the street. And it's weird because it seemed like he caused this accident to happen by crossing the street. It was so weird. It was like as soon as he went across, cars just hit each other out of nowhere. And it was like he got up, dusted himself off, because he didn't get hit, but it kind of like grazed him. And he went into another direction to cross the street, and there was another accident. And it was like every where he moved, there was a car accident. And then I was thinking to myself, okay, well, maybe I shouldn't be feeling so angry that he took something from me like that. It was like wherever he went, chaos was following him. That sounds like my ex-husband. Okay. I have to examine that some more, but that really sounds like my ex-husband. All right, let's see what else we got. This was from August 18th. Looking at a basketball jersey, the back of it read, RIP 112 LaCroix. I was talking to a person in the spirit realm. So, the person, me and the person that was in the spirit realm, were talking about this jersey that we were looking at. And the back of the jersey, I've never seen a jersey that says RIP. But this jersey had RIP 112 LaCroix. Now, LaCroix is the last name of my daughter's father. But I don't know who the person was that I was speaking to, unless that was someone in his family that I was speaking with. I am going to have to decode that one again. Okay, this dream says, from the 17th, August 17th, I had some costume jewelry that I did not make, and it was packaged in some plastic. A woman came up to me and asked me what was the jewelry made out of, what materials was it made out of. And before she had asked me that, she was somewhere talking to someone else. She saw the brand and she started talking to the person and bragging. She was like, yeah, I always use this this brand name or whatever. I love the jewelry, they blah 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 blah. And she was just bragging about how much she liked the jewelry. And then she walks over to me and asks me what was the jewelry made out of. So she picked up the package. Oh, I guess apparently because I was listening to her, and when she walked over to me, I gave her this look. Like, why are you asking me that when you was just bragging about you wore the jewelry or you like that brand? So she picked up the package and showed me on the package where to find what the jewelry was made out of, like she was trying to show me up. And then there was a group of women, and we were discussing healing our wombs. So I guess this was like a fair or something, and they had stalls where people were selling stuff, and I was selling something, and then we stopped and we were talking about healing our wounds. And I could see myself, and I was like on both of my bended knees, and I was looking at myself. I could see myself on my bended knees. You know, I guess we were doing some type of exercise where I was on my knees or something like that. And I was thinking to myself that I could never do that before. So now, because I had a knee injury, I can't sit on my knees like that. Actually, I couldn't even do that as a child. I always sat my legs crossed, like what they call Native American style. That's horrible. I don't know what else. Cross-legged. Um, and as I was waking up from my dream, I had asked my ancestors, as I'm waking up out of the dream, um, I asked, what do you all want me to see? And then as I woke up, but I just laid in the bed with my eyes closed, and I could see a woman wrapping something in what looked like a piece of cloth. You know how they used to keep things back in the day? It was like a piece of square cloth, and they would like put it in there and then fold it up and kind of like hide it or keep it away. And then I saw a woman crushing something in a mortar and pestle, and she was making a medicinal tea. Mm. I wrote this. I will have an encounter with animals or someone who acts like they are an animal, but I am the only one who could calm them down. Why did I write that? Oh, okay. This is like it's the same day, but it was more of a meditation. I don't even think I was in meditation. I don't know what I was doing, but it was like a moment of silence. And it says, I could see these two cards. And on the cards, it was like yellowish orange and reddish orange. And they kind of merged together. So you can imagine how bright and fiery that might look. And I kept staring at it until it just faded away. It says, I saw a picture of a woman on a card, and I was talking to someone in front of me and asked that person if the person they wanted to know about had long black hair. Then I asked if she was indigenous, native to the Americas. I was using what I saw in the card to tell someone about a person who they were asking about. So I must have been, I don't even do readings, but that, okay, I am seeing the card, so that had to have been an oracle card or a tarot card or something. I don't think it was a tarot card. It must have been some type of oracle card that I was looking at. And I think what I'm feeling now is that I took what was on the card and was able to ask the person who they were looking for if they look like that. Because I think that's how some people give readings sometimes. They would pull a card and they would see what's on the card and say, oh, well, I see this. And then the person can respond and say, oh, yeah, such and such and such. I think that's what I was doing. Okay, this is a meditation. I saw a group of people cutting open a tree branch on the ground, and they were eating what looked like maggots. Then it cut to someone with like a wooden basket of those same maggots, and they were roasting them on a fire. Then I saw two men fighting to the point where they fell on the floor. They were rolling around fighting. Then I heard someone say, while they were fighting, Senor or Senorita. Senor and Senorita, one of those. Interesting. This one was interesting. In this meditation, I saw a cat. It had a white base with patches of different browns, light brown, dark brown, like beiges or whatever. But the cat was, so if I'm looking at this way, it was there and it was looking that way, but up, like somebody was standing up and it was looking at someone. I don't know what that's about, because I don't have a cat. There are cats around the neighborhood. There is one that looks like that, but one day I saw her, but it was a while ago. She was sitting in my backyard up on the, where I used to have my garden, my container garden. I wonder what that's about. But she just sat there. She didn't look at me. And it's not like she was a dog, because you know how dogs, you tell them to sit, they sit. Cats be looking at you like, who the hell are you talking to? They do what they want to do. But it just sat there. Okay, this meditation, I think I know about it. It says, during my meditation, I heard geese. And I didn't pay attention to it at first, but it kept going on. And it was like they were so loud. And you know, usually you hear them and they're up and they're flying. But this seemed like they were close to my window. I mean, really close to my window. And the only thing I could see when I looked out the window was my neighbor's window, which whenever I go into my prayer room, he always slides open his window so he can listen to my prayers, I guess. Anyway, when I heard it, after I looked out the window, I said out loud, "Are you trying to tell me something?" The sound was so intense, so I felt as if something was happening, or if there was something or someone around me and they were trying to get my attention. Because, you know, usually, I don't know if it's all birds or if it's some birds, but they said a lot of times a certain type of bird will do a lot of talking when something is about to happen, or if it's somebody bad that's around. So I always remember that. And then when I heard that, that's why I said, why are you trying to tell me? Are you trying to tell me something? It eventually went away. Nothing happened that day because trust me, I was waiting on it. Well, nothing happened in the 3D where I'm concerned. I don't know if something was happening in the spiritual realm. I don't know if something was happening somewhere else. What just came to me was all of that talking was a representation of all the people that are talking about me. This is interesting. Oh, so this was Sunday, August the 12th at 7:40 p.m. While in my prayer room, I heard footsteps in the grass. Now, our grass hadn't been cut, so my grass and my neighbor's grass is kind of high. And this person was walking in the grass between the two houses. And it was a fair-skinned woman with this white t-shirt with something printed on the front. She had on black leggings and then a black scarf on her head. And she was walking in between the house. And when she got up to where our front houses went, she went towards my neighbor's house to go back that way. I don't know what she was doing, but I felt as if she was doing some type of spell work around my house, chanting something. You know how people do, they bibbidi bobbidi boo. Yeah. August 8th. I dreamed that it was me and others trapped in this room. And then there was this man. He was tall, he was thick built, wearing a uniform, and had lots of keys. Now, I don't know what his face looked like. I can only remember seeing his body. So his body kind of reminded me of, oh shit. His body reminded me of the other dream, the guy that stole the vials from me. But in this dream, he had on a uniform. He was like a guard with keys. He would always come looking for us. We was running from him. And I don't know who I was with. It was a group of people. Not a big group. It might have been like 3 or 4 other people besides myself. We went into this one room in some random building. It felt like a storage facility. And I was standing by the door, and when he tried to unlock the door, I kept locking it back. And he kept doing it, and I would always lock it back immediately. And then he stopped, and he kneeled down, and he was looking up under the door to see if we were in, well, I guess he knew we were in the room, but I guess he wanted to see where we were in the room. And I don't know what I did, because he didn't see my feet, because if I had stayed right there, he could have just grabbed my feet or something. But anyway, so after he looked, then I got on the floor and I looked through the crack to see if I saw his feet. And then as I was doing all of that, the other people were at this back door of this room, and they finally opened it, got it out, and I told them to run, and I said I would meet up to them when they get where they're going. I guess apparently we had a meetup spot, and I was going to meet them at that spot when I got away. So I let them go so that he could start following them. Okay, so that's what it was. As I stayed by the door, he went around to another door and started following them. And it was interesting because he was like a zombie. All these zombies, Jesus. His face was just straight. And when he walked, he didn't walk with any kind of rhythm or anything. He was just robotish. Like he was just on a mission. I want to say a whole lot, but So he followed them, and then I was able to go in a different direction. I was able to see which route he was taking to follow them, and I went another way because apparently I knew the area. I went another route, and then I got caught up with them. Oh, and this is just me talking about, I kept paying attention to the way that he was moving. His movements was not like a human being. And it was like my ex-husband. He was a guard, a security guard. And I do not know who he is. I can't say he's not the same person that he was, because apparently he was that person. He just pretended to be something when he was around me. This is July 30th. It says, in my dream, I was asking Spirit how to do something, and Spirit said, look inside. I woke up from the dream and heard, our mothers are gone. July 27th. July 29th, I got a channel song, and the song was Tell Me What I Gotta Do by Al Jarreau. July 27th, everyone is being called into talk about money, how much they have left, and what they are going to do. And Ayal had the most left over and said she would give me some. I don't know what that means. I think I know what that means, but I don't have any proof right now. July 25th. In a building after hours, I assumed this was my job, and I was supposed to perform all these tasks for closing tasks. And out of nowhere, there was a group of people that are doing these things, destroying. They were doing something, destroying things, and not following the rules of the building. It felt as if everyone was in survival mode, like something had happened, and we realized that we were really stuck in that building. The dream jumped to me helping people use a bag for a toilet. Wow. So they won't be having it everywhere. People got in because they came to a door that they weren't supposed to. Ooh. One of the people I felt was Bridget, but did not look like her. It was just her. It was like her energy signature of Bridget. But the whole time I ignored her. feel like I'm doing now. This other stuff is just like my free writing stuff that I'm just, whatever I think or feel, I'll write it down, figure it out, you know. July 26th. I was doing my normal routine, going to work, and the cab, Uber, or Lyft, whichever one I was in, the driver asked me a question, and it took me a second, but I said, "Why do you ask?" He said, "Because I am the second person who takes the same way every day, does the same exact thing, except you do whatever it is I do." What the hell is that? I am the second person who takes the same way every day, does the same exact thing, except you do whatever it is I do. Hopefully one day I'll understand what that means. July 21st. I was working as an instructor for a private school. There were a lot of straight-laced students and a few hard-headed ones, and they were preparing for a competition. Some of the students weren't able to participate because they chose not to follow the rules. One of the students had a device in their hand that looked kind of like a hand grenade. So the student said if the grenade went off, that he would stay and practice. He pulled the pin out, and it was a dud. So the student just left. On the day of the competition, I spoke with another instructor, like an assistant instructor, and she had asked me, like, what do you think about such and such, that the student that had the device? And she was saying that she was worried about that student. And I said that I was not worried about that student. He would be all right. Then we left for the competition. And at this time, everybody had gone. Everybody had on like these jackets, like school lettering jackets or whatever. And I had like a sports blanket around my waist. And I was up walking back and forth, like directing them on what to do or whatever. And that one student that wasn't there for like none of the practices had come and aced everything. Like he never had to practice. Did you hear that? And then I started seeing these bubbles. So I'm like, why is there bubbles in the air? Come to find out, The whole time, doing school, doing practices or whatever, we were all underwater. Living and breathing underwater. A random vision. I saw a brass or copper bracelet and it had a circle on it like a planet. Wowzy, wow. Sorry I did that. In a dream on the 19th of July, I said, the earth is a living, breathing entity just like us. In our bodies, when we are not well, we get a fever. This is the same thing that happens to the earth. Global warming is the earth's fever to clear out the virus. Why can't I remember a lot of this stuff? In this dream, I don't know what day this was, I am watching these people make all of these purchases, large purchases from this small company. Everything went well for them. I saw one of the workers talking to a customer, and I can see that the worker had plastic covering their teeth. Yeah, they had like this piece of plastic over their teeth. Then I noticed another person who had the same thing. I thought, this is really interesting. Then everyone gathered in one place and they were picking out balloons and they were seeing how long they wanted the balloons to be, how long they wanted the strings to be. Then one of the women said, these balloons will not fit in my car. And then I noticed a black woman with the same plastic on her teeth. These people were looking for the men. So apparently these were couples. And they were in different parts of the building, kind of like having their own separation. Their own separate festivities of whatnot. And one of the workers said that the men were already done with their celebration. Then all of the women started saying that they would pass on the balloons as well. They didn't want them. The men has celebrated without them. There were these two tribes of women who were walking to some kind of festivities or ceremony, and this is in another country. No shoes on, sandy, dirty, loose dirt on the ground. We walked from a distance, and we all were walking very slowly. We finally arrived. Walking slowly reminds me of a funeral, because we weren't really talking to each other. It was just quiet, and everybody was on their mission to get to where we were going. We finally arrived to see this building, and there was like a stadium seats. They weren't metal, they were more like a wood version or rock formations. And I sat on the right side, and then all of a sudden I realized that side of the family was not my side, so I sat on another side. The women on the right side were wearing cream with like a coral or peach garb, traditional garb. And I was on the side, the women were wearing cream and green. One of the women started telling a story of someone in their family that was in a coma, and the person would not wake up no matter what they tried. They even said they used a type of soap that was on a stick, and it was wrapped in plastic. But in my gut, I felt like they put this person in a coma and wanted people to think they didn't know what had happened to them. Interesting. I dreamed that my youngest daughter almost sent me a message that just said, Mom. And I paid attention to the fact that I mistook the time for the date. That's all I got. I didn't say if I responded or not. I had a dream that I had an all-white parasol. So, remember in Bridgerton time, those little umbrellas? And mine was white. And I was twirling it. And the more that I would twirl it, it would get open wider and wider. And I kept twirling it till that parasol covered the whole city. Well, that's it. I've been on here a long time. I'll probably do this some more at another time. Just got a little bored. All right, talk to you guys later.